three tips to make your resume stand out for data manager position.
So the different ways to make your resume stand out. Number one is just Excel skills. If you don't have simple Excel skills, you're really not going to be a good fit as a data manager. It's going to be very difficult to take things or to pick things up. Since Excel is at the bare minimum a very flat database, if you don't get those concepts, you're not going to be able to stand out in an interview. The second one is you should really point out that you're a logical thinker. You should have some aptitude to be able to code and not necessarily create programs, but understand how logic works. So if then else logic is really one of the main ones that we can use, as well as trying to match between two different columns. We can also do, we also have to do stuff like that. So really some basic coding would be another good one. If you're able to show off statistics skills as well, so any type of science background from a university, they are also going to have a statistics background, and that's going to shine through on an interview as well.
Wonderful. So Nick, what is the best job search strategy for data manager position?
Okay. In order to search for a job, like I said, so many companies are looking into data on a daily basis, and you're not going to find many companies that don't have data to work with. Some of the strategies to find those jobs are to look for business intelligence, information systems, and companies that are looking for data scientists. Because I work so closely with analysts and data scientists, the companies that are looking for data scientists will need a data manager to help support that. The scientists and analysts are not going to be creating their own databases necessarily. So they're going to need that technical person to help them out. There's just positions everywhere, and with the vast amount of big data companies, especially with AI coming in, you need a lot of data to go into those types of systems. Data managers are just as vital as data scientists.
Fantastic. So what are the 5 most common interview questions for data manager position?
Okay. So some of the questions are pretty much a situational type of a question. One of them that I got was describe a time where you could not meet a deadline, and how did you go about communicating that up the chain? And you're trying to ensure that you can communicate effectively and understand when a deliverable might not be completed, and if you are timely in communicating that up the chain. Another one is describe a time you had to solve a technical problem. Because this is a technical type of role, they need to ensure you can think clearly through a troubleshooting process. One interview that I actually had to take an Excel quiz. They set me down, and it was a macro in the back end, and it tracked the number of clicks that it took for you to complete some tasks and within Excel. And if you exceeded the number of clicks, then you failed the quiz. And I, of course, passed it. There are also questions that I receive about prioritization. If you're able to prioritize different technical responsibilities within the job, and if you're unable to clearly prioritize those, if you are able to communicate to the stakeholders of different teams what should be the priority. Lastly, for the senior role, I was asked questions about how I've been able to help coach our data managers through different technical responsibilities and projects that they've had. So it depends really on the company of what they're specifically looking for, but I think that those are going to be some of the main questions that you're going to get asked, and especially the technical skills.
Wow, seems to be really interesting. In fact, especially the one clicking in Excel and counting the number of clicks. That seemed to be really tricky and interesting as well. Great. Thank you so much for the answer, Nick. So we would love to know, what are the 3 best books or resources to aid in data manager job?
All right. So the number one resource is going to be Google. in all honesty, you're going to have to know your data inside and out, and especially any companies that you're providing data for. If you don't understand different fields within the data set, you should be able to look those up so that you can understand what the data scientists and analysts might be utilizing that information for. The next one is a book. It's called Data Management by Richard Watson. It really dives into the broad world of data management and provides a good overview of what actually goes into modeling, data storage, and different ways to make sure that you're secure in your data. Lastly, any programming book is going to have that Hello World section in the very beginning. That's going to be about as much technical skill as you're going to need. It's going to go into how fields are set up, what's the definition of a character field versus a date field, and then the different types of numeric fields that go into data sets. And then it's also going to help you understand how to handle those correctly. It'll also teach you some of that Boolean logic, that if then else information.